What's poppin', gods and goddesses, empresses and emperors, kings and queens, cats and dogs, whatever your title may be? Yes, as you all know, House of Harlem TV is in the building with another banger. Yup. I just love it. We have a very special guest coming on in just a little while, and we're going to learn how to get to the bag, aka finances. Yep. Once again, I hope all is well with you guys. I hope everyone is eating healthy, everyone is feeling good, and I hope everyone is mentally well. I need you guys to get your pens and papers out. You better have your listening ears. And as I always say, this platform is about remedy. So you should be at this very second sending this link out to everyone in your contact, from your friends and your families and everyone. Okay? So I need you to make sure that you have that listening ear. All right? I am going to be introducing our guests in just a little bit, but I want you guys to know that I love you. I know you want us to stimulate your mind. I know you want us to elevate you to the next level mentally. And we're always making sure that we bring people on the platform to do it. No matter if it's from the hip hop world to the Moorish community, we're here for you guys. All right. Without further ado, we have Brother Kemitu Bay coming in. He is very knowledgeable. He's very sweet. He's very kind, but he knows that information. And I like it just like that. He's coming with the powerhouse. He's coming with the confidence. And you want to know why? Because he has the experience. He knows what he's talking about. And I'm going to make sure I'm listening. And I hope that you're going to be listening too. All right. I hope that you guys are sending the link out. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Y'all better have people jumping on. Y'all better have people jumping on. Share the link with your friends and family, because Brother Kemitu is definitely going to give us some crucial information, and you want to make sure you get it right now live. And why? Because our last show was taken down, which was an awesome show. The show was so good that I tried to go back to make sure I jot some notes down. And guess what? Done. No. This is what they do. You know what I'm saying? You know that there's a mass censorship going on right now. And you can't talk about anything holistic regarding health. You can't speak about the politics, all right? And you basically can't give any remedy like that. So we have to definitely make sure that we utilize our time, and we make sure that we're on here live, and we make sure that the people that we love and care, that we want to share this information to, comes on live, and get it while you can, because there's no guarantee that these YouTube channels or shows for any particular Thursday will actually be up. But we're working on remedy. All right, we're working on remedy. Y'all know it's not going to stop us though, right? And we will be having, well, we do have some other platforms already available, but we just want to make sure that it's to our liking, and to make sure that you guys can just jump on and we continue from there. So it'll be a little bit more private. We'll be able to speak about whatever we want to speak about, and we'll be able to get the remedy to move forward. We're just waiting for our guests to come on. We got the elder on. My engineer, I don't know what he's doing right now, but he'll get it. As he always does.
We got the audio.
We have the audio. Do we have it?
Video.
We're about to get the video.
Alright.
What's going on, you guys? Y'all know my blind self. I have to actually go on my phone in order to see who's in the chat. Other than that, I won't be able to see a daggone thing.
Excellent.
Wonderful. All right. You seem so relaxed right now. Living royal right now.
Me?
Yes. Your background and stuff. Is that a picture or is that you live? It's live, right? Yeah.
That's
yeah.
me live. Yeah, that's me live.
Okay. That's cool. Well, can you please just pronounce your name properly just in case I did not for the viewers?
It's pronounced Kemitu.
Kemitu. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Because the syllables in my name or attribute is KMT, which is Kemet, which refers to the region.
Okay.
And when you put the U there, you're indicating the people. So when you see the glyph, you see a man and a woman kneeling next to each other.
Wow. See, that is so beautiful. That is just so beautiful. I'm gonna have to get my name up there. I gotta come up with something, you know? I gotta come up with something. Although Dad is like, he already has my name down packed. He's pronouncing it correctly. So brother, I know that you're gonna speak to us about finances and stuff like that, but before we even start, we're waiting for some people to fill up in the chat. And I always like to ask in the beginning, how are you doing? How is your family doing in regards to this, I would like to say, pandemic, but prior to the pandemic, we still had issues with health. So
yeah, well, my grandmother last week Wednesday made her 98th birthday, February 9th.
Wow.
So we had Zoom, to wish her a happy birthday.
Okay.
And apparently, after being on Zoom, I could see that the family, everybody seems to be, playing it safe.
Okay.
Or keep it safe.
Okay.
My people, they're safe too. My sons and daughters.
Okay.
Definitely keeping it safe, and my grandchildren.
Okay. You look so young to be, look like you got grandchildren. But
yeah.
Wow.
Well,
so
I drink a lot of water, sis. The key, I drink a lot of sea moss and I drink a lot of water.
Okay.
Because the sea moss keeps the collagen in the skin from dehydrating.
Okay.
All right. So I don't mix my sea moss. Some people do. I used to do it over 30 years ago. I used to mix it with milk and peanut butter, and honey and all that stuff, and nutmeg and vanilla and cinnamon and stuff. But now I learned to drink the sea moss straight up. So I get purple sea moss, red sea moss. I just drink, I try to drink it twice a day.
Wow. I'm happy you said purple. Purple. I'm happy that you said purple and red, because that means there's like a lot of carbon in there when it's red.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. And black sea moss.
Oh, I never heard of that one now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And black sea moss. Yeah.
Okay. Right. I'm really funny about sea moss because some of it looks like it's jelly like, or not jelly, but like it rubber before you boil it and all that stuff.
Oh, well, that's the fake sea moss. You got to be careful with that, because the sea moss that I have, I should get it so you can see what it looks like.
It's called Conscious Christmas, right?
Yes, Conscious Christmas, but I'm not looking at the name Conscious Christmas. I'm looking at the fact of the quality of the sea moss.
Absolutely.
The quality is more important than the name.
Right.
Because they got a lot of fake sea moss, out there. And so you got to be careful. So the one that I get, you don't have to clean it.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, you don't have to clean it. You just put on, the still water, or spring water, whatever, a half a gallon, and I just put a certain amount in there and just put the fire on low, put the top on it, and it would just melt right out, and I'll stir it right up and just take it off the fire, and it would just congeal the water. The water just be all congealed.
Wow. So you've been using this for quite some time. I would love for you to
man.
Yeah.
I'm 57. I don't look at, it's gray, so this is inherited by father, but in the meantime, I've been drinking sea moss since I was 17, 18.
Wow, that's a wow. 17, 18. Okay. So I would love for you to pass to us where we could buy the sea moss, because I'm very funny about the sea moss. There is fake sea moss out there.
I'll hook you up, because down the block from me, there's a restaurant called Jolo. The Rastafarians own it. They're real beautiful people, and I buy my sea moss from them. So I can see if I can, get that information for you.
Okay.
And then you can put it out there, and they can purchase it from them, because that's the only one I know. That's one of the places I know, I should say.
Right.
That give you good, clean sea moss.
Do they
the purple sea moss?
Do they do they sell the black sea moss as well? I'm interested in getting.
No, they don't sell the black sea moss.
Okay.
They don't. But those things are not easy to come by, like the purple sea moss, the black sea moss, the red sea moss. Yeah, those things are not easy to come by. You got to really have connection. I was getting my purple sea moss from out of Antigua.
Absolutely, that's where I get mine from. Someone from Jamaica. Yes.
Yeah, directly.
Yeah, directly from Jamaica and Antigua. But I never heard of the black one. Now, the place that you just spoke about, you said Joe Loaf? Is that on
Jolo, yes, in New Rochelle, New York.
Okay. Because they have a place called.
It's called Jolo Kitchen. J-O Kitchen.
J-O Kitchen.
Excuse me. J-O-L.
Yeah, probably L.
J-O-L Kitchen.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That is cool. That's awesome. So we're just going to jump right in. We're starting late.
Yes.
I'm just so excited because when we initially asked you what are we going to speak about, finances is just so important, especially to our people. We need to understand finances, and I just want to know, and to your understanding, why is finances so important for us?
Well, that's a very good question. I'm going to have to tell you, I began to start looking into finance from the reference point of Noble Jew Ali. Noble Jew Ali was the one who had said, it takes finance to lift a nation, and finance and science mean lifeline. Mm-hmm. So I began to start my journey and my quest in that area. Okay. But the thing that bothers me the most is that so many of us Moors across the country are not looking into finance. Because we would be in a better place, and we can be in better demand as Moors and get the respect that we need to get from the Europeans if we have our financial infrastructure in place.
Okay.
All right? We don't have a financial infrastructure. And once we have a financial infrastructure in place, we can make our demands. Mm-hmm. All right? And so we don't have that set up. And so we at the mercy of these people, these Europeans, who call themselves so-called, whites, but they're really Albions because of the albinism in their skin.
Okay. So that basically, in a nutshell, is what we need to be working towards. So how do we begin that? I've read articles, because what's profound to me is when you say we as Moors. So I had expressed to people the last show that there's families, which I would consider them melanated, aka black people, who came together, 19 families who came together, and they got land. I believe they are now at 500 acres of land. They're doing really great. They're cropping. They're asking for donations, but at the same time, they're not claiming to be Moors. You know what I'm saying? So when I hear that word more,
let me express something to you, and this is very important to be aware. And I'm glad you brought that point up, so people could not be confused.
Okay.
When we talk about more, we're talking about a complexion. not just the culture, like the food, the songs, the dance, the embroidery, you know, like the clothing, you know, because that's all Moorish. You know, some of us may think it's Arabian, but it's Moorish. But there's a close knit between the two. But the point is, you know, people got to recognize that when we do talk about Moor, they're talking about the skin complexion, because that movie, which, you know, some of our people might have seen it, might have not seen it, but I'm still going to reference the movie anyway. You can go on YouTube and pull it up. Black Nights by Martin, where them Europeans at that time was kept calling him the Moor about 7 or 8 times in the movie.
Yes.
All right. They didn't call him Moor because his clothing, because remember, he fell out of the future into the past during the time of the Renaissance. So the clothing that Martin was wearing the clothing that we wear today.
Right.
So how is it that if he fell into the time of the Renaissance and he comes up out the water and they spot him, the first thing they classify or see that he is a what? A Moor.
Absolutely.
But again, what's so interesting about that movie, our people have been moved so far away from that word and associated to us that when you see the movie, when they keep referring to Martin as the Moor, he looks around trying to figure out who they're talking about.
Right. Like,
and they're talking about him.
Absolutely.
So that's what happened to us. When you come to our people, and I have to say it like this, because I'm into linguistics, you know, etymology.
Okay.
Our English-speaking brothers and sisters, that word Moor has been removed out of our vocabulary. Is it there? Yes. But it's not has been perpetuated among us in the English. But when it comes to the Spanish-speaking population, any Spanish-speaking person, I don't care if they're from Ecuador, El Salvador, Colombia, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, you can just Costa Rica, you know, any Spanish-speaking Mexicano, you speak to them and you use the word moros. All right? That's the old country, folks. They know the word moros. The new the generation today of Spanish-speaking population know the word Morano, like the rapper Fat Joe.
Yes.
You know, remember Fat Joe was saying, Boricua, Moreno. All right?
Yes.
So the Boricuas are the indigenous people of the island of Puerto Rico, what they call technically Boñaque. All right? But he does recognize the Moranos.
Wow.
So, and this is in Spanish now. So how is it, which is my question, how is it that all Spanish-speaking population know the word Morano or Moor or Moros, but when it comes to the English population, we are oblivious to that word?
I want to know what transpired to the point where we forgot, because I remember when I was in high school, what? You call me Morano. I'm like, what? You know, it seemed, I took it, I guess because of my environment, as a bad thing. I never considered it a good thing back then. And I believe they did too, because they were saying it in a way, you know, to offend me. You know, it wasn't, so I guess, you know, from both perspectives, it wasn't good. I just want to know, like, at what point did it, you know, did it change, basically? What point did it change? And
again, you got to remember something. Look at the conditions that we were in the English population, English-speaking population. Look at the condition that we were in, that's one. And even though we somewhat came out of that condition as we fought our way out of there,
right,
the English still took root to the words that was being used at the time. So even in the educational system, we are still not aware of it. But this is what I say to people. Because someone, when they say, well, brother, how do you come to see yourself as a Moor? Or how do you see us as Moors? Right. Well, I say, well, let's go to the Webster's Noah Dictionary. All right? Noah Webster, of course, was a European. Just like
Noah Webster, okay.
Shakespeare. Because Shakespeare talks about Othello the Moor. Right? But when you go to the Webster's New World College Dictionary, there's 5 categories or 5 classifications that you would see in there. The first one you would see, when you look it up, is the word Moor. Then the next classification you would see is Blackamoor.
Okay. More,
Next
Blackmore.
is Black.
Black, okay.
Then you have Negro, and then you have color. So when you look up all of those terminologies or classifications, you're going to see there's a relationship that's connected to us. So we know Black, we know colored, and we know Negro. But look what happened. Look at the transformation. Because you asked the question, look at the transformation. First, it was more. Because remember now, in this country, they're throwing your history in your face if we don't see it. They'll say, who discovered America? They'll say Christopher Columbus.
They surely will. Oh.
But now check this out. Who was the one who was navigating the ships for this guy Columbus? Was the Nino brothers. It was the Pinta, right? The Nina and the Santa Maria.
Santa Maria boat. Yep.
Those 3 boats. They was navigated by Moors. Prince Henry the Navigator, Portuguese, European, learned map making and map routes and traveling navigational on the seas by the Moors. We've been traveling back and forth. That was like our lifestyle,
right?
Our culture to be traveling. You know what I'm saying?
So
and another thing too that we don't see.
Okay.
The brothers go to the barber shop, right, and get their hair cut, right? Where the word barber goes back to the Barbary, which was referred to the Moors.
Where did they get barber?
So our culture is there. We had been moved so far fetched from it that we become oblivious to it. So when you tell a sister or brother, are you a Moor? They don't know what you're talking about. They have no idea what you're talking about.
They don't know.
We don't know because we've been removed from that. Remember, they already showed you in Roots how they turn around and beat this brother from Kente to Toby. You know, and then they put all these European names on us. If you notice that,
right?
Because the thing that bothers me, like for instance, this is supposed to be the so-called Black History Month, which I disagree with using the word Black History because what you're doing is really blacking us out through whitewash.
That's true. That's
true. And these brothers and sisters out here is not doing us any justice, you know, who keep using this term Black History Month. I know they got it from Carter G. Woodson, which technically wasn't even called Black History at the time of Carter G. Woodson. It was called Negro History Week.
And they switched it up.
That's what it was called at one time. Because Carter G. Woodson used to be one of the editors or writers of the Black Star Line.
Wow. Did we go? Hold on.
Is the light still blinking?
No. I don't know. Hold on 1 minute, brother. Okay. Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
Okay. That's very interesting. So, like, to the young people in the street, right? You just gave us a history lesson. But suppose one of them walk up to you and be like, okay, I get it. We were called Moors back then, but it don't really matter. What would you, how would you respond to that?
It would matter. You know why it would matter? And that's
This is to the young. Hold on 1 minute. Hold on. Oh, no, we can't be doing this.
No, I'm gonna just switch it back.
Hold on 1 minute, brother. Hello? Am I good? My apologies, guys. My apologies. My little devices. I want to make sure he's heard, you know. He has to be heard. Because, see, you know, we got the young ones, you know. We got some viewers out here. They can always.
Can you hear me?
Okay. Oh, yes. Okay.
Yes, you're crystal clear.
All right. So, right. So to the young ones, and even to anyone of any age group, If they feel like...
Let me pick up from what you left off, because I know that's what you asked me, and,
right.
and this is what I need to express to the young generation.
Okay.
First of all, by we identifying ourselves as a Moor, we will be galvanizing ourselves as a nation. Mm-hmm. The problem is, like the Johnny Clark, one of our great renowned scholars who are now an ancestor in the internal bowl, he said it best, because I used to study him and Dr. Ben a lot. I mean, other scholars too, but especially those two. But they were mostly in the limelight.
Okay.
Johnny Clark has said that black is not a nationality. Right? Absolutely. And it's interesting because this renowned scholar is not being heard by those who were around him at the time. And even the young generation is oblivious to who he is. So when he says that black is nationality, it's not a nationality. Our people today think that's what that is.
Right.
They think that black is a nationality. But then if they don't go, see, now this is where the etymology comes in. The etymology comes in because these people are miseducating us away from our true identity. So we are under identity theft, because black is identity theft. Negro and colored as identity theft. Those terms are identity theft. It was Noble Drew Ali who woke me up, even though I was studying 30 years or more into Afrocentric studies. I have never heard in those studies what Noble Drew Ali had said, that we are not Negro, that we are not black, or we're not colored. Because why? Because those terms are terms that delude from slavery. From slavery. So again, it makes sense what he's saying, because when you go into that dictionary, the older ones, the word black technically is an adjective. But what the European have done as manipulating the language and playing around with the language, he's going to say that the word black is a noun, just to associate it with your quote-unquote person.
Right.
So the young people today must recognize that black is not a nationality. It's an adjective.
Right.
I think I told you the other day, and I want to use this as an example, because people need to wake up. I was traveling with a brother from the Nation of Islam, and he seen one of his, I guess you would say friend, but he was an Albion, which is a pale-skinned man, which we misnomer as white, but he's not white, because white means pure, pure means God, and God means ruler of the land. All right, so the Europeans and these Albions are not white; they're pink, pale-skinned people. But one of his friends flagged him down, and he pulled the car over while I was sitting in the passenger seat, and he was talking to his friend. His friend didn't recognize who he was, because he said he came out the doctor's office and he had some eye drops in his eyes, so his eyes were kind of blurry. His response to this gentleman who I was traveling with, he said to him, "Oh, what I see is black with glasses." Well, that was an insult. Yes, all you see is black with glasses? And he didn't even pick it up. Because when you're so brainwashed about the word black and about the word Negro and about the word color, because they're using that today. You can hear a lot of these celebrities and rappers, whoever, and entertainers and ball players, they're all using the word either black, colored, or Negro, or even African American, which is the latest term. Right? So what I'm saying is, he didn't recognize that this guy said, "Oh, all I see is black and glasses." Well, that kind of reminded me back in grade school when they had these racist aptitude tests when they said, "Hair spot, C spot, run." What do you think they were talking about? They wasn't talking about no damn dog.
Man, that was very insulting. And you're right. We're so conditioned to the point that we don't pick up on certain things. Now, you mentioned nationality. Once again, this is a lesson here. These are to the brothers and sisters walking up and down, working in the hood. How important is your nationality? Because I don't think a lot of us understand even the importance of that. Like, we just fill out applications.
I'm gonna break down the importance of it.
Okay.
The problem, what we are having today, is that we are not nationalized as a people. The European has fragmentized us or compartmentalized us into these different classifications. And he don't feel that he have to give us any reparations to restore us back to our greatness as a people. So long as we keep using these terms, right? Matter of fact, you reminded me because when you see some of these applications,
yes.
And when you see black on there, when you see African American on there,
they got
people don't know that it was the immigration department put a petition in. They put a petition in to use these terms on these applications. So they're getting paid to use the word black or African American. They're getting paid. They put a petition in to the appropriation department.
Wow.
So when they put these petitions in, they're the ones who put in the petition for us to label us like a can of sardines, and they're getting paid for that. And this is the thing that disturbs me, what our brothers and sisters who's supposed to be congressmen and senators and representatives and councilmen, they're not recognizing this. How in the hell you going to let another ethnic group of people who is biased and racist against us going to mislabel us and they get paid for it?
So that tells you there's some significance to that, right?
That's my point, that we need to be nationalized so we can get out of this fishnet, and that we can galvanize our finances together and uplift ourselves as a nation. And until we do that, we're going to always keep suffering, because it don't make a difference if we got our brothers and sisters out there making billions of dollars.
It don't matter. It don't matter.
It doesn't matter. What matters is that we have to nationalize ourselves to be recognized as a nation. Listen, I used to be up in the United Nations many years ago. And I'm going to tell you something that you need to be aware of. And the young people need to be aware of this. When you go up into the United Nations, there's no such thing as a black nation, an African American nation, colored or Negro nation. It doesn't exist. There's no flag that represent that. There's no constitution and no laws that represent any of those terms. So what is subjugating us as Negro, black, and colored, and African American? The legislation of the 14th Amendment. Because under the legislation of the 14th Amendment that these devils have done in 1868, which was the year of the legislation of the 14th Amendment, when you read that 14th Amendment, it specifically says all persons born or naturalized. So now, let's look at the phrase, all persons born or naturalized. Listen to this carefully. Persons. Where do we hear this word from? Well, let's go back to Article 1.
Persons.
When they said Indians not taxed and 3/5 of other persons. So they was classifying our people as 3/5 of persons. So now they turn around and took that same person out of Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution and inserted that as an amendment under the 14th Amendment, still classifying us as persons, right?
Right.
And matter of fact, let me drop a historical jewel on y'all.
I like it.
See where Kemitu was coming from. There's a book out there that you can purchase by 2 Harvard professors.
Okay.
2 Harvard professors wrote this book called Alienable Rights.
Okay.
Alienable Rights. The 3rd chapter of that book. The entire book is important to read, but the most important of that book is the 3rd chapter. Why? Because the 3rd chapter is labeled the dark side of the Constitution. There was 55 delegates in that constitutional convention. James Madison was one of the 55 delegates.
He said the dark.
While he was, excuse me?
No, I'm just mentioning what you just said. The dark side of the Constitution. Okay.
Yes, that's chapter 3.
Okay.
And I blew a lot of people's mind with this information because, again, first of all, I'm a astute brother, and I'm a researcher, and I'm into etymology. So when I start breaking these things down, I give you the sources of the information where it's from, so you can see it for yourself. So in this Constitutional Convention of 1787 is the year, there was 55 delegates. One of the delegates is James Madison. While he was in there during the convention, he was taking notes. He was taking notes. And he was the one who said, we need to change the term slave, because he said the word slave was repugnant to the Constitution, and substituted the word slave, used the substitution to remove the word slave, I should be more articulate and clear, and replace that with the word person.
Ooh.
Do you hear what I just said? James Madison, who was one of the delegates in that Constitutional Convention, in his notes, and he also made it clear on the floor when he was speaking, to change the word slave because it was repugnant to the Constitution. So automatically you can see where they are codifying the term. Codifying the term because since the word slave was repugnant to the U.S. Constitution, they decided to use the word person. So now you can say, okay, all slaves and those who are naturalized. Now, when you're talking about naturalization falls up under the Immigration Act. That's also in the U.S. Constitution. So it's just interesting because we can fall on either side of that spectrum. They can either classify us as a slave, which is codified as the word person,
right?
Or they can say we've been naturalized. This is the term they use. Now, to say that you've been naturalized, they're saying that you're not a citizen and that you're a foreigner to the land. So you can never be naturalized.
Right.
And this is the reason why you have to nationalize and proclaim or declare your nationality, so you won't be subject to the word person or subject to the term naturalization process.
So this is a twofold question. How do you nationalize? And if you have a baby, how do you make sure that your baby has the right nationality? Like, how do you, what is the process?
Well, first of all, that's a very good question. And this is the reason why, and I'm glad Angela is on tonight, because I spoke with her earlier.
Okay.
Yes.
I said hi when I came in, but you were speaking.
Pardon me?
I said hi when I came in, but she was speaking.
But no, I said hi to you. I waved my hand. I don't know if you see me waving my hand to you.
Yeah.
I heard you when you said hi. I didn't know you, beloved. Please forgive me if you didn't hear me.
All right.
You didn't see me wave my hand?
I seen you, but I didn't know when to interrupt. So I just had muted and paused the screen.
Well, that's why I waved my hand, so that way you realize I heard you.
Okay. So yeah.
But forgive me if I didn't respond to you, because you're right. I was in the middle of dialoguing with someone else.
Peace, Angela. But okay.
What I was saying to Angela earlier, and I'm glad she's on tonight, is that you asked an excellent question, sis, because first of all, it all starts with the mother and that delivery room. When you go to the 6th edition of the Black's Law Dictionary and look up the word delivery, all right, you will see where they say that it was a constructive, right, transfer or handing over the baby. it was done constructively. It wasn't done manually, which means your hand was given over to the baby, to the state. It was done constructively on paper. And that constructive paper that handed your child over to the state, making your child a sword of the state, is the birth certificate. Now, we don't have, as a Moor, you shouldn't have a birth certificate. You have birth rights, because Noble Drew Ali always talked about nationality and birthright. He never mentioned nationality without mentioning birthright.
Right.
Because it's your birthright. What these Europeans have done is stolen our birthright and replaced our birthright with birth certificates. Now, what is these devils is doing? Let me tell you what's going on.
Tell us what these devils is doing.
And let me tell you what's going on and why it's so important to educate our women. Because the women are the one who bring forth the children, and their women are the one who have to protect the children, but they have to have the knowledge of self to deal with this situation. And this is why nationality is so important. And that's why the young people got to realize what's important. Once that birth certificate is issued to the Department of Vital Statistics, what happens is that it also goes to the Department of Commerce. So what they're doing is they're issuing bonds or certificates on that birth certificate, and they're trading that securities, which is another name for bonds, on the stock market. So now our ancestors who were enslaved, not slaves, but we were never slaves, we were enslaved. That prefix is very important that you put en in front of the word slave.
Enslaved, okay.
When we was enslaved to these devils, to these demons, to these jinns, right? We fought our way from that chattel slavery. But what they did was, since they knew that this chattel slavery with their hands and feet is going to be broken, now they turn around and put the chain, the chattel, on paper. So the birth certificate becomes your chattel paper. So you can look that up in law.
Chattel.
Chattel paper.
Yes.
Another name for chattel paper is commercial paper. And this is what they're doing. They are trading these papers on the market.
Right.
And they're generating all this equity on you. So now you become an estate. The baby becomes an estate to the state.
Right. And I remember having a conversation with you, and you had mentioned that I should ask in City Hall, why is my birth certificate here in City Hall?
That's right. And that's a question that have never been brought up and have never been answered.
Right.
The only thing we know, like robots, because the chain is on the mind now. George G.M. James, who got murdered for putting this book out called Stolen Legacy.
Stolen Legacy, okay.
Stolen Legacy is the name of the book. He made a statement. His statement was, mental bondage is invisible violence.
Can you repeat that again?
He said that mental bondage is invisible violence.
Okay.
And that book that I just cited to you, Stolen Legacy, was about that there was no such thing as Greek philosophy. All Greek philosophy was ancient Egyptian philosophy that was stolen and was classified under the Greeks.
Wow.
What they did is they Hellenized everything that our ancestors had at the Nile Valley.
Okay.
So it's good to know the history, because then you can make the link about what's going on today. And that's why the young people today is oblivious to what's going on, because their generation prior to them, they don't know. So the ignorance is being passed on, or the invisible balance, which is the mental bondage, is being passed on to them. They don't know that their legacy has been stolen.
Right.
Your nationality and your birthright is your legacy. That's your inheritance. The hell with the word estate. Be careful with that word estate.
Ooh.
That word is a dangerous word.
Okay.
Because what they did, let me tell you what's going on. What they did was, when they decided to use legislation to free us or emancipate us, which is a lie, because there's a third collegiate dictionary that I have by Webster. When you look up the word emancipate, the word emancipate means to make over or transfer up as property.
Oh,
it don't mean free.
So we were still slaves, basically.
The word emancipate in etymology means to transfer or to deliver up as property. And it still goes on in the hospital with the mothers giving birth to the children, to these crackers. They're emancipating your child
right
at birth. And then they give these certificates, like if there was some goddamn title to some car
right
on your child.
Because back in the day, they would just write it in the Bible, right? Back in the day, right?
True.
Just have a record of it.
Well, that's a good point that you made, because now you're going back to the Maternity Act of 1921. Because the Maternity Act of 1921 was saying that the birth certificates was unconstitutional.
Oh.
But what they was doing was they was trying to make it seem like, excuse me, that it was about the immortality rate between the mother and the child. That's what they was pushing. But what they was really pushing was to issue those birth certificates.
Wow.
Yes, it's called the Maternity Act of 1921. But when you put it in Google, the Maternity Act of 1921, make sure you put the word birth certificate next to it. Because what they're doing, they're hiding the information.
They are. They're hiding it. Google has its own censorship, so yeah, you got to be careful with that.
Exactly. So when you do put the Maternity Act of 1921, that's the year. Make sure you put the birth certificate next to it, so the information can come up.
Okay. So, should we have to go to court to change our nationality or make claim of it?
No, sister. Guess what? Did they take you to court to change your nationality?
Nope, they didn't. They went over there.
Oh,
that's right.
I mean, that's what Malcolm said when he was being interviewed. They said, well, "What is your name? Did you go to court?" He said, "Well, did they take me to court to change it?"
No, they didn't take me to court. They did. No, they didn't.
Yeah. So why would you go? Why would you ask the Union Society of North America, the Ku Klux Klan over the Emancipation and the Sisterhood Magna Charter? Why would we go to these people to ask them to change something that's their birthright?
That's a good question. I just wanted to make sure it was on the record. But I get it.
It's your birthright, sis. It's your nationality and your birthright. You don't have to ask them devils.
Nothing.
You change your name.
Nothing. I am who I say I am, and that's that.
That's right. It's the Declaration.
Right.
It's the Declaration of Nationality.
Right.
And constitutional immunity. Because reason why I declare myself as a Moor is because the Moors were dealing with them Europeans ever since the Moors have fell and we fell into slavery.
Right.
All right? That's what attracts me to this Moorish knowledge or Moorish science. Because, when you check out all the other African nations, what can we see that they have done as far as treaties or anything of legislation that we have dealt with these Europeans? That's the question. And I haven't seen it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Right. I haven't seen it.
Right.
So if I'm going to deal with them Europeans, I'm going to deal with them Europeans as a Moor. Now, I'll be the first one to tell you that my people's is Gullah Geechee.
Geechee people, right. And I'm
Gullah Geechee.
I'm Maroon and Cherokee.
You see what I'm saying? But the point is, what do we have on paper to deal with them Europeans? Like, for instance, I give an example, the Sundry Freemore Act of 1789 to 1790. That Sundry Freemore Act, what was it about? Where the brothers, their wives, and their children was captured by Europeans and was sold down into slavery in South Carolina.
Yep.
And what did they do? Or do, I should say. they purchased their freedom, their wife's freedom, and their children's freedom. Mm-hmm. But they didn't stop right there. What they did is they petitioned the House of South Carolina.
That's right.
And what was the purpose of them petitioning the House? Because they wanted to make sure if they was going to be accused of a crime to be amenable, they wanted to be tried as a citizen of a state as opposed to the laws that govern free blacks and the Negro Act that was brought out in red. So they used the word black and Negro. The black was laws. There was black laws to control the Moors, who were classified as free blacks, or Africans who was classified as free blacks.
Are there any other ethnicities in the world that are dealing with stuff like this as far as their nationality, the way we are? I mean, okay.
Yeah, sister, you got the Caribbean islands. I got brothers and sisters contacting me, emailing me, and want to declare themselves, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, I know brothers from Puerto Rico, and the Dominican Republic, and Grenada, and
so all over the Caribbean.
Yeah, that's different ethnicities of our people.
What about the people from the landmass Africa, or Germans, or the people
that?
You
gotta remember something. They've been enslaved in that land, and the difference between us and them is we can see us making a declaration of any nation in Africa, like for instance, Ghana, Liberia. You know, we can go Nigeria. We can go to those places and take on nationality.
Right.
The person in Ghana ain't gonna take on the nationality from Nigeria and vice versa.
They're not.
Because they got tribalism and they culturally caught up like that. So they won't see what we see.
No, they're not.
So we're in a more fortunate position than they are.
Right.
You know, like for instance, Haile Selassie, when he came here in 1963 or 64, somewhere around that period, he made it feasible for us to go back to Ethiopia and to this land called Sheshamani. That land was set up for our people here. Haile Selassie did that. So we could have declared our citizenship in Ethiopia, and then he had land reserved for us. But unfortunately, when he was overthrown, all that stuff was taken away.
Wow. Well, brother, I don't mean to cut your wisdom. I just want to acknowledge the chat. Make sure you guys hit the like button. I see y'all having heavy conversations in there. I don't know if you can see, brother, but somebody is already making statements. Someone said, but Noble Drew Ali said we have descendants in Africa to he was talking to Carl Victorian. But you know, people, if y'all have any questions, please put it in the chat. We'll try our best to answer them if we can.
Yes. And don't forget now, we got to go into finance. All right. So if they have any questions, let's clear that up so we can go into next finance, because I think we in at 10 o'clock.
Yes. And I definitely got to get into the finance.
5 after 9, so we don't want to, you know.
Yes, 1950 to 2021, only one has been fighting for the people was black people. Put some respect on black power. Oh. So I guess.
The question?
Well, I guess that's a statement. It's more of a statement.
Well, first of all, let me tell you something. The only black power I know, if you have an energy company, and I agree with that, like Con Edison. So until we harness energy,
yes,
for our people, I can recognize black power as an energy company.
Right.
But when you say black power, I mean you're being oblivious, because that's not a nationality. And that's the problem. Our people are so stuck here because where do you get that word black from?
Right.
That's a European word. That had nothing to do with us. In our ancient language, we didn't use that word.
Right.
We're using that word today to be able to figure that we can galvanize and pull ourselves together. But again, for those who say black power, show me where that's a nationality. Go to the families of nations and show me where you see black power there as a nation. It doesn't exist.
All right.
It doesn't exist. Only thing we're doing is masquerading and parading. All right, that's what we're doing, and you know what I'm saying. And we're not nationalizing ourselves. I never heard nobody from the Black Power movement or whatever, and that's what it is. It's nothing but a movement. None of them is talking about nationalization. They're talking about an organization.
Right. And once again, you had mentioned in the beginning that you studied what, right? You're doing African American studies, you know.
Afrocentric studies for over 30 years.
Wow. So so there is a question. Sis, ask him, how are African Americans Moors?
I thought I explained it again.
Right.
We're not classifications. There are 5 classifications. The word is Moor. Look that up first. Then go to black or Moor. Black and then A and then Moor. And then what they did was they removed the word Moor and left you with the word black. And then from the word black, you got colored and you got Negro. Right? So those are the 5 classifications. Look them up and you'll see the relationship. If you have not looked those 5 classifications up, that means you're not seeing the connection in the relationship.
Someone mentioned...
I don't have to technically explain to you how is an African American or more. Because, first of all, the term African American, the first time that was used during the time of Jesse Jackson running for president.
That was.
And he used that term to galvanize the people for the votes. That's what he did. That was a political term. And what the European have done, and what the European have done today here, this so-called white man have done here, is took the term, put it in the form of a petition, getting funding for it, and it's on applications. So they getting paid.
They're getting paid, people.
These so-called white people in office are getting paid to use the term African American.
Yeah, Niger, you're going to have to go back. Niger Valley, I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. You're going to have to go back and listen to him because he do explain all this. But why is black a problem? He explained this because those are the questions that I asked.
Black is not a problem. Excuse me. First of all, I've never seen, that's the problem. I don't want people to misinterpret. You have never, ever heard me say on this show that black is a problem. I'm talking about it's not a nationality. Show me where black is a nationality. Don't say that, why is black a problem? Nobody said that black is a problem. But what I'm saying is, are you aware that you speak in English and that the word black is a European word? Show me what word that we use in our own culture and why we ain't using that word. Like melanin.
Yeah, carbon.
Your skin has melanin. And matter of fact, I prefer to say that your skin is majestic. Doesn't that sound more regal than saying black?
I love majestic. That sounds cute.
Your complexion is majestic, sister or brother. I'm giving you something that's regal. I'm not giving you something that's flat. Something that can be used in a disparaging remark.
Someone said... More, I'm sorry, brother, is also more is also a European word.
No, it's not. No, it's not. This is how I know you ain't studying etymology. More is not because if you're saying that more is a more European word, what about the word Mauritania? Ooh. What about the word Morocco? What that got to do with Europeans? So the word more is a derivative of the word Mauritania or Morocco. So how could that be European? This is how I know they're not studying. You must study etymology to know what you're talking about. You cannot just arbitrarily just throw words out there and say that it's European.
No. Not over here. Well, I think that just sums it up, people. We are going to get into the finances, the meat and potato of this whole show, because
that's what y'all need.
Right. That's what we need. Shaka, you can just read a few things from the chat really quick before we move on, because guys, we're moving on. I see y'all coming in here.
We're not even gonna
Mediterranean is a Roman name. Marino more. That's right. I did a whole presentation on this.
Hold on for a minute, sister. When they say Roman, Dr. Ben, who is our renowned scholar, who's an ancestor, Romiti or Roman, that is a term that referred to the Africans. That have nothing to do with it. Matter of fact, did you know that the first 5 emperors of Rome were Moors? Did you know that?
Ooh.
So don't sit up there and say that term is Roman. Yes, it is. It's all related to Moor. So the first 5 emperors of Rome were Moors. Check it out. The ecclesiastical fathers in Rome were Moors. Check it out. Dr. Ben educated us on that. John Henry Clark educated us on that. So please don't take things out of context to try to prove your point, because then what you're doing is you're misleading and you're miseducating yourself and others. Please. I'm not about that. Forgive me.
All right, now it's getting juicy in the chat. I'm going to leave all that stuff alone because we're dealing with the scholar right now. And the most important thing is the finances. So where do we want to begin when it comes to finances? Because
there's a book. I should have brought the book to show it to you. It's somewhere in the other part of the house. It's called Accounting for Dummies, 9 books in 1. Again, Accounting for Dummies, 9 books in 1.
Ooh, okay.
I teach out of that book. There's a lot of juice in that book. They teach people what's going on. But the science is this. This is what I teach people. And this is, and listen, and for those in the chat, they're not going to have controversy on the math. We argue our words all day long.
Right.
But you never heard of a nation going to war over mathematics.
No, I don't know. No. Numbers don't lie.
And this is for those in the chat.
Numbers don't lie.
You figures don't lie, but lies always figure.
African math.
So for those in the chat, because you're controversial about words and terms and saying this and saying that, well, we're going to be going into finance, and I want to see how much controversy you're going to drop in this one, because what I'm about to drop on you tonight, you never heard this before.
Ooh, wait, Robert Kiyosaki and all of these people, Trump had a financial book and all that stuff. So are those good books before you start? Are those good?
Well, first of all, let me drop some jewels on you.
Okay.
Because what I'm going to drop on you, none of those books going to tell you what I'm going to tell you. None of those books.
Now you're getting me all amped up, brother. I'm over here shaking.
None of those books.
Okay.
But first of all, if anybody have read any of those books of these guys putting out all this financial information, all right, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yes.
We can go on and on. I know. I'm aware of it.
Okay.
See, in that material, are they telling you that any instrument that you sign your name, let me give you an example, student loan, auto loan, mortgages,
yes,
credit card, any of those instruments that you sign your name to, did you know that there are equity that belong to you from those instruments that you sign your name to? They're not telling you that. So when people say, oh, I own a student loan debt or an auto loan debt, or a mortgage loan debt, or credit card debt, you don't own no debt at all. These people are lying to you. We do what we call is securitization audits. We go into Bloomberg and we actually show you how much those instruments that you sign your name to, how much money they're generating, because they transfer those instruments into trust, and then they trade those things as trust instruments, like trust certificates, bonds, series, stuff to that nature. Things that we have no idea. Matter of fact, let me drop another jewel on you. There's a book. Normally, this is the first time I'm doing a lecture without my books in front of me, because usually I like to show the book so people can see it.
It's all good. We'll post them.
It's called a Dictionary of Finance and Investment Terms. That's what it's called, a Dictionary
of Finance and
Investment Terms.
Okay.
All right. And when you look up the word certificate in that same dictionary, the first thing they're going to put down there is birth certificate. Why is that? Why would the word birth certificate be in a book like that? As I was saying earlier, they're trading your birth certificate on the market. You see what I'm saying? not in debt. They want to make you seem like you're in debt. What they're doing, and this is why the book called Accounting for Dummies, 9 books in one. They got to be 9 books in one.
9 books in
one.
They
got to be saying that, yes.
So don't go commit suicide, guys. Don't do all of that. It's equity.
It's equity, exactly. All that discharge crap. You know what you're doing? So when people talk about discharge, let me educate you so you know what's going on. When you say, matter of fact, where is the number one place that the word discharge is being used at? That's the question. Bankruptcy court.
What court?
Bankruptcy court.
Oh, okay.
So all these other folks who's talking about discharge, this and this, they're lying.
Wait.
They're lying. Discharge happens in bankruptcy court. And that's where I learned the term discharge. And when you discharge, what you're doing, you're disclaiming your equity.
Disclaiming.
When you do the discharge outside of bankruptcy court, you're disclaiming your equity. If you got equity, like your birth certificate is your equitable instrument, your mortgage, your student loan, your credit card application, all these are equitable instruments that belongs to you. And what we do is we would do what you call is an audit and see how much is your mortgage, student loan, or whatever it is, instrument that it is, how much is generating on the market, and it belongs to you. So you have finances that belongs to you. You're not in any state. You don't even have to work. These people are making money off of us.
Yes.
And we don't even have no idea what's going on. And all this credit crap, that's another garbage. Because the credit lines are nothing but trade lines based upon the credit rating. That's why I tell people, don't refinance nothing. What you need to do is clean up your credit, bring up your credit score,
right,
so you can bring down your premiums. They're not going to tell you that. They're not going to tell you that.
I mean, I know you had mentioned something about how to properly, like your mortgage, how to get money from your mortgage.
Well, see, what happened is that the mortgage is transferred into a trust, and once you do a securitization audit on your mortgage, the Bloomberg would show you what is generating with the Q-sub number. All right, Q-sub for those who are new to it, and I took a course up at Water Street, 55 Water Street on the 43rd floor in Manhattan. I took up a course in Q-sub. Q-sub is an acronym, and it means Committee on Uniform, right? C, Committee, U, Uniform, S, Securities, I, Identification, and P is Procedure. I went and took a course in it. And there was nobody up in there that looked like me. Everybody was either Asian or Caucasian.
What? Okay.
Yes. Because you ain't going to find out people up in these places. I even go into the American Bankers Association. I go up into their meetings. I have to pay quite a few $100s to be among them to get the information and bring it back. Because we ain't doing that. We have no idea. Rich man, poor dad, and all these other guys with all this financial guru and all that, they're not telling you this information. And none of those books that we be buying from these guys is telling you that you got equity. The hell with credit.
Y'all better be sharing this link with your family right now. Everybody should be on this billboard because this is some juicy stuff. It's like I got the Holy Ghost. I'm over here dancing right now.
Yes, the hell with credit. If you got equity, you don't need credit. The only reason why you need credit because you're broke. You under a certain financial status. When you up in a certain status, you don't need credit. They may just give you a credit line. A credit line from having credit. Did you know that? How many of you know that out there?
Say that again. A credit what?
From having credit.
Oh. Ooh.
When you have a certain amount of equity, you get equity line of credit. And that credit would be based upon your equity.
Wow.
But you wouldn't even need credit. Because why would you want to pay somebody to borrow their money when you have your own goddamn money?
That's right. That's right.
So we need to go do equitable research in those instruments like your student loan. I tell students, y'all have equity. Those loans should have been paid off from the equity. And whatever's left over from the equity that's being generated should go into your escrow account. They're not doing that because all accounts have to have escrow. They're stealing the money and giving it to other investors who's making money on your money, on your equity.
Oh, my God.
And you the only one that's not benefiting from it.
My heart. Where the money at?
You're not benefiting from it. Again, ain't none of them gurus out there is telling you what I'm telling you. Ain't no financial books out there is going to give you the information I'm giving you. They're not going to talk about no Bloomberg as far as the securitization audit. They're not going to talk about your equity. They're not going to talk about it. This is how deep it is. Like, even if you got a court case, I don't care if it's a family court case, a criminal court case, those courts are all bonded and they're making money on your case.
What about child support?
Same thing. Same thing. Matter of fact, here's the headbanger for all those sisters out there who don't recognize what's going on.
Trying to put them on top.
Giving you crumbs from the table with child support, but meanwhile, the birth certificate is making millions on the Wall Street stock market.
Go get
so
them
why
millions.
would you want crumbs from an agency when you can go after the equity of the birth certificate because the child has been set up as an estate at birth? So why your child needs child support from the father or from the mother when the child has his own equity from the birth certificate? They're not talking about that. They're robbing you, sister, and giving you crumbs under social services.
$50. Oh, you need the millions, sis. You need the millions.
Thank you. The birth certificate. Your child birth certificate is worth a lot of money on the stock market, and here we are running back and forth with child support agencies and courts and giving you crumbs, and you can barely live with that crap.
That would be saving relationships out there. You and the child's father would be in great relationships with those millions. Y'all would be living a good life.
There you go.
Okay.
It wouldn't even be an issue.
Child support would not be an issue. She'd be like, you want
That's
something?
Right.
You
we
want
can
something?
eliminate that crap.
That's right. Finances are very, very important.
And all those gurus ain't telling you that either. Who's writing those books?
Yo, I'm telling you. Because you said every time we sign our signature on the paper, that's equity.
Well, it's not the signature on the paper that's equity. It's the instrument that they have drafted up is equity. Like the mortgage. Once you put if your signature's not on it, it cannot be equitable. The only way it's going to be equitable is they need you to sign that instrument, and then they're going to trade it. That's what makes it equitable.
Got it.
They have to trade it. They have to get your signature on it first, and then they have to trade it in order to become equitable. Your signature, because I heard people say foolish things like, oh, your signature is the money. Your signature is not the money. Because you can put your signature on any piece of paper, a blank piece of paper. It doesn't mean that it's money.
All right. So Jay Bay said the only way to receive equity is to be in equity.
First of all, you're already in equity at birth. All right? Your equity starts at birth. The birth certificate is the first equitable instrument that they assign to you. And this is the reason why the state makes you a ward of the state, because they want to control that equity. Do you know that the state, the federal, state, and local government get funding for your presence in their city, in their state? They get money for you. Why you think your birth certificate is in City Hall? Because the city is getting money for you.
Right.
But meanwhile, the money that they're getting for you, how is that money applied to a traffic ticket or a criminal case?
Right.
But yet they steady getting money for you for being a citizen within that state or that city.
And they're getting this money from?
The money, again, sis, as I said before, they trade these birth certificates with bonds in the form of bonds and securities. And they sell it to investors. Like, for instance, if you in the municipality you should be having a municipal bond. If you own a house, you should be having a municipal bond, because those municipal bonds are tax-free. And those bonds can give you exemptions. But people don't know how to apply those bonds. How could you be in a municipality and not have municipal bonds? A lot of us are not aware of these things. So if you want to have some equitable power while you are domiciled within the city limits, you should be purchasing municipal bonds.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Do you have any questions? Can you read any questions in the chat? Make sure you guys hit that like button. Man, we have a lot of books that we have to get into and read regarding his finances. You gave it away at birth. You have to come in as the real party. At birth?
That's right.
Okay. Someone said,
and you don't have to be a secure party creditor either, because a lot of people be hustled with that. You don't have to be a secure party. You already been secured.
So you don't
once they issue the birth certificate, they issue securities on it. You already been secured. So how could you be a secure party when you already been secured? You know, and why you think that the state make you a ward of the state and create you as an estate? So you already been secured. So saying that you're a secure party, you're wasting your time. What you need to do is do an audit or get the Q-sub number on that birth certificate so you can see what the securities are generating on the market. And most of the time it's Fidelity.
Oh, most of the time it's Fidelity.
Okay.
Right.
Yes.
Yes. My God did look it up. Can you hold on 1 minute? Hold on 1 minute. Hello?
Hey, what's good?
Hey. Do you want to ask a question?
Yeah, I got a question for the...
Okay. Can you merge it in?
No. Oh. Why do you have to call back on the other number? I'm gonna put it in the chat so you can come in.
Yeah, put it in the chat real quick.
No. You good.
But like, Kemitu. All right. All right. So there's a question. What is your question?
Does the brother, has he himself get access to the credits on that bond? His birth certificate, bond, or security. Has he drawn down from it?
Yes, that's a very good question, brother. Let me hit you with this information. Yes, the credit rating on those birth certificates is either A, AA, or AAA. And if you notice, those credits are never reported to the credit bureau. Mm-hmm. So you started off with an 800 at birth.
And that's like.
So yes, brother.
Okay.
That's a very good question.
Here's what I'm asking you directly. Have you yourself draw down millions of dollars of credits from that certificate, where you have land, houses, or assets to show that you took advantage and you moved smartly?
Are you asking me a personal question, or are you asking me for others?
No, I think that's what he's
asking. I'm asking you a personal question that you have.
No, brother, I'm asking you right now so you can kill that. No, I haven't done it for myself. And there's a reason why I didn't do it.
Well, okay.
If you want to know the reason, brother, is because at birth, there was a mix-up with the birth certificate. The name that's on there, I never grew up with that name, and I never had access to that. And I was trying to get my mom to get it. But it was always some blockage or stumbling block. So, but I have pulled the information, and I've seen it on others. Like, for instance, this mortgage bond. I pull people mortgage bonds, and if you get the bond on your mortgage or your student loan or whatever instrument, you don't have to pay no more money to these so-called debt instruments when you pull the bond on it. All right? So I do see it from Finch Standard & Poor's, I can go to those different credit rating agencies and look it up on the bond. So I can pull the bond information that I have done and have shown people. Matter of fact, you can't even tell them that that's your bond information to whatever instrument it is that we pull it, because they're going to look at it as inside trading.
Okay.
Because these people don't see us having this information. Mm-hmm. But yes, I have seen information, what you're talking about. For me personally, no. For certain reasons.
Can I ask you this? Based on the knowledge that you're bringing to the table, have you walked somebody through the process who has the correct status of their birth certificate, who don't have those problems that you had, but have that could go clear selling with it? Have you walked them through the process where they were able to benefit from your knowledge in reality?
What I have done is pull up what you call is a QSUP report on that birth certificate. That's what I have done. Now, the next step after doing that is be able to ascertain the bond. That's not easy. Why? Because when you're talking about a QSUP number, there's two levels to the QSUP, which most people don't know about unless you go take the course up. There's what you call a pool, like the pool servicing agreement to mortgages and student loans and the like. You have the major QSUP number, which goes through the pool. Because people have said in the past, oh, my birth certificate is making billions of dollars. No, that's not true. Your birth certificate is in a pool with other certificates that's generating that kind of money. What you need to see is the minor QSUP number, which is directly to your account. And so when a TD Ameritrade account is being set up, or TD Direct account is being set up, you would have to have a securities attorney or a broker to be able to open up that account so you can transfer those securities that you asked me into those accounts where you can get the residual income, but not the securities itself. That can be done.
Okay. Okay. So here's what forgive me, Kia. Here's what I'm asking you. I'm trying to get during this my walk doing this for several years. I have many people giving this advice, that advice, making this claim, making that claim, which is all fine and good. So I don't want to take away anything that you said, but I'm looking for people who make certain claims or have certain knowledge. Have they had the experience? Like if you have a son or a daughter who had a birth certificate, since you have all this knowledge, have you walked them through the process? Did you have a wife or a sister or a brother? Have you walked into the process with this knowledge to bring it into wealth, where they can own stuff, where they can have stuff and bless their other brothers and sisters, that they spread the wealth with your knowledge that it become actually materialized? So I'm asking you directly, you haven't done it, but since you're saying it can be done, and you know how it can be done, that's what you're claiming, have you actually walked someone through it where they sitting on a mansion, where they sitting on a this or that?
Yes, I have done that, but see, this is a factor that needs to be put into play. And I hear your question, and it's an excellent question.
I'm sorry to interject.
A lot of our people don't have the money, because I just stated to you there's an application that has to be filled out, and it can only be done by a securities attorney or a broker. All right? And people don't have the money, because these securities attorneys, they ask for an enormous amount of money for the process. So people don't have money on hand. But what I can do is whatever the credit rating is on that certificate, we can bring that to the attention to the credit bureau, and in that way that would give them a certain credit status where things can be different from. So that can be done. But as far as walking people through the process, yes. But the point is, they don't have the money to be paying the broker or the securities attorney, and that's where the stagnation happens.
Okay.
People just don't have the money.
If someone comes forth and have the money, will you be willing to help them?
But that's what I've been doing the whole time, sis. The only reason why it looked like I wasn't helping them because they didn't have the money to finish the process.
Right. Can you give me?
Yeah, if you have the money, definitely.
Do you have a board? When you say money, is it thousands, 10,000, 20? Like,
a securities attorney system is expensive. These people be wanting 10 grand or more.
Wow.
Yeah,
All
that's
right,
the reason.
we're gonna talk about
that's why I
that
said
in
the
the
brother
private.
asked the question. I can walk you through the full process, but then when you get to that point, are you going to have the money to pay for that process? So that way you can benefit, like what the brother's asking.
But here's the situation. If you're telling me that my certificate of my bond is worth millions of dollars, and there's a way I could negotiate. Knowing me, I could negotiate with a security broker, whatever, and say, okay, I got $100 million here. I'll pay you 10%. You only asked for 10,000 or 25,000. I'll pay you 10%, $10 million. If you give me the $100 million, who's going to say no to that and know that it can be done? Who's going to say no to that?
If that's what you're claiming, brother, we can get it on and pop it. If you can negotiate that, more power to you, and I'll walk you through the process.
No, wait, okay. You're telling me I have to go through a broker or something like that. But now, correct me if I'm wrong. If you
A broker or a securities attorney, either one.
Right. If you say my bond, my certificate bond, is worth millions of dollars, are you saying that it's worth millions of dollars? Yes or no?
He wouldn't know that specifically yours, right?
All right, this is what I'm going to tell you.
If it has a value,
I have seen what it looks like.
Millions of credits, don't say dollars. Millions of credits. So here's what I'm getting at. If it's worth millions of credits, and I go to a broker, he says, well, I charge $25,000 for that service.
Well, wait a minute. Why are you saying credit?
Say again?
Why are you saying credit? Why you
exactly? Because we're not talking about credit. We're talking about equity.
Okay, equity. Okay, let's say equity. I apologize because use the correct word. Equity. If the equity of that negotiable instrument is worth X amount of that equity status of several million, and I say, go ahead and draw down 10 million of it, and I'll pay you $1 million after the fact, and I know how he knows how that can be done, and it's true, and then why would he do that?
No, my thing. You know what? This is my that is a good question. But another.
No, it's not. No, it's not, sis. That's a poor question. I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's a factor that he's not factoring in.
Okay.
All right. Because I'm listening to every word he's saying. First of all, it doesn't happen that way, brother. That's something that you had made up, and making people think that this is a good question. No, it's not. I'm gonna tell you again.
Okay.
You need a securities attorney or a broker. Like when you buy certain things, right? You need a certain middle person who's licensed. All right? The securities attorney is licensed. The broker is licensed. That's not going to happen the way you have, and there's no negotiation with that. All right? Either you have the money to pay these people to process it for you. Now, what happens is that in this application, this form that would be transmitted by either one of these professionals, what you need to be aware of, that those Q sub numbers are put onto that same application for those securities. Once that account is open and those securities are deposited into that account under your name, you can't touch those securities, brother. The only thing you can touch is the residual income from the securities. Because if you put your hands on those securities, the men in black is going to come and see you. So it doesn't operate the way you're stating. I'm hearing everything you're saying, but it's really not a good question because there's certain factors that you're missing.
So why can't people come together collectively and get the money? And this is a couple of millions that can be split, once one person do it and you keep doing it like that. Like if we're talking finances, then why isn't that happening?
Sister, I can't answer for people. Matter of fact, you kind of remind me of a sister. You remind me of a sister that I dropped jewels on bankruptcy, on discharge, right? Chapter 7, right? I can remove your mortgage or your mortgage lien from your property and you'll probably be free and clear. You know what she said to me? Well, why the masses of people don't know about it? I said, well, sister, that's just it. Why they don't know about it? You can't throw that liability on me why they don't know.
No. Now, let me tell you something. This is what we just explained just now is crazy. There's no way that money can be a hindrance to getting some more money when people can do things collectively to get money. Like, there's really no way.
I agree with you.
This is why I say something got to be wrong with us. Something got 10 people, 10,000. Like, I got to look at
I agree with you. I agree with you wholeheartedly, but you know what it is, sis? I was involved with community gifting, and the guy, people was putting $5,000 at a time, trying to generate equity from this system, this gifting system. The guy turned around and ran up with the money. So
this is crazy.
There's a lot of distrust or trust that's going on with us.
Okay.
All right? I mean, we have to get like minds to be able to work what you're saying. I agree with you. But you'll be surprised what goes on behind the scenes with our people and why we can't get to a certain place. So I hear you.
Every other person do well in this area. The Germans have issues. Jews have issues. The Amish have issues. Everybody have issues. But when it comes to stuff like this, they never have issues. Why is this an issue for us? Why do we keep doing this?
Well, I feel this
I think it's a distrust.
On this call.
That's what's going on with us.
We got people on this call who have integrity, and if you're telling me, because I'll be one of the 10. You get 10 people, and you said this broker is going to need $25,000. We each come up with $2,500, and we make up. And with that, we can, from that interest that you're talking about, we can each make whatever $50,000 or $100,000 a year each. That's more than worth it.
Well, brother, this is what I have to say. If you can make it happen, I will walk you through the process. That's all I can say.
Say no more. Say no more. Say no more.
That's all I can say. I'm not going to really go too much through it. I just know I'm the only one, if you notice.
Okay. So let me ask you this.
I know the process.
Hold on.
The only problem that we had was people didn't have the money to pay these people to continue the process.
Right. All right. He want to
So
ask
you have it, brother. Just do it. I'm not here to be backpedaling and swimming away. Whatever has to be done, we can do it.
Okay. All right. What else do you have to ask?
Would you be willing to be one of the 10 that be part of the investment? If we get some brothers and sisters.
I can't make out what he said. He said, "Am I willing to be the what?"
Okay, Byron. I don't know if it's. Can you come closer to your receiver because you got low?
I'm sorry, I had it. Okay. Would she be? Can you hear me better now?
Yes, I can hear you good.
Yes.
Would she be willing? If we got 10 brothers and sisters that's full of integrity, who's not worried about the nickels but want to make the dollars, who's not greedy and going to run away, would you be willing to be one of the 10 or 100, whatever that number is, to invest in yourself and invest in that project? Would you be willing to put your money at risk as well as the others?
First of all, brother, I'm not going to put no money at risk because I'm not about risk. Again, I'm about getting our equity. Mm-hmm. All right? I'm working on projects myself. I got investments going on myself. All right? That's what I got going on. All right? Because I have grandchildren that I need to look after. All right? Because I don't know what their mom and pops are doing financially for them, but I'm not waiting on them. So I got some things in the mix for them. So I'm not going to be willing to direct my finances in another direction away from what I'm already doing. I'm not going to do that because what I'm doing is sound.
Okay. It's just that the way you.
But what I'm willing to do, if you have people of integrity that you stated earlier, I'm willing to walk y'all through the process so y'all can become successful. Because when y'all become successful, then I become successful.
That's true. That's true.
So I'm willing to do that. But as far as my finances personally, I'm investing in my grandchildren, brother. So I'm not going to misdirect that someplace else and then lose out, and then my grandchildren are going to have. I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
And I got to pave the way for them and teach them. So that's what I'm doing.
Well, we're gonna definitely. I'm gonna link everybody up. We're gonna talk about that part of it in the private. We're gonna get it popping, see what the possibilities are, and we'll take it from there. If you have any other, I don't want to give too much out because I would love to invite you back on. Because I know that when it comes to finances, you are a guru at it, and I want to drop little small droplets. We don't want to have it all at one time. You know what I'm saying?
All right. You know what I wanted to share with you, for all those who are listening on the chat and on Zoom. I think it's very important, and you probably live streaming also. They need to type my name in YouTube.
That's right.
And I want them to go to the 2018 lecture. I did 3 lectures in Delaware at the House of We Waking in Mind, April, May, and June. Mm-hmm. And I break down the Bloomberg. I show the Bloomberg. I show who I was communicating with as far as getting the information. You see all that. You see all that. I break down the detail. I did 4 hours apiece on April, May, and June. If you go to type my name in Kemitu Bay and just look up April, May, and June of 2018. Look at those lectures.
Yeah, I think I've seen one of them. Awesome. Do you still do lectures right now, or you kind of?
Well, I'm doing one now as we speak. I mean,
yeah.
People invite me. I would come and do it because I got another lecture coming up in March. A brother out of D.C. wanted me to come and lecture.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So I do lectures. I do. When people book me to do lectures, most of the time I'm doing paralegal work because I'm a freelance paralegal, so I do a lot of cases around the country.
Yep.
So this is how I make my bread and butter. So, and I teach that too. So
that's that's important. Are there some businesses or some trades that people can get into right now that you would advise them to do if they had a little bit of equity to do so?
That's a good question. Paralegal work have kept me comfortable for 20 years.
Wow. That's good.
But at the same time, it takes time. It's almost like a gift because the things that I know, the average paralegal who went to school and got degree don't know what I know. A lot of the lawyers don't know what I know. If I show you what I've done against lawyers and bankruptcy trustees, you would be floored. I was just in a meeting a few days ago with a client, and I was educating her, and she was floored because the question she asked in bankruptcy, the bankruptcy trustee had an assistant to question her days before the hearing. Mm-hmm. And so the bankruptcy trustee evaded certain issues. All right? Because I know that when you do file bankruptcy, you have to go after your equity in bankruptcy. So on Schedule A-B on line 20, it says government negotiable and non-negotiable instruments. What is that? It could be your student loan, your auto loan, your mortgage loan, which is in trust. So once we do the audit, we'll see who is the issuer of those trust certificates, which is those equities that they're generating that we're going to claim in bankruptcy. So that money is to pay off the so-called creditors if they are eligible to get that money. Whatever's left over or whatever's there belongs to you. So that's a whole new different process. And if you want to learn what I'm talking about, you can go to publication 908. Because one thing that the bankruptcy trustees, all of them don't do, publication 908, what the bankruptcy trustees don't do is file a 1041. They're supposed to give you a 1041, get an EIN number to your bankruptcy estate, do a 1041 so you can file it with your 1040 so you can get a tax return. They're not doing it. It's like it's unheard of. And when you bring these things up, they try to go around it because they don't want you to know what's going on.
Wow.
And the lawyers that you hire, they ain't telling you either. Either they don't know or they ain't telling you. So I will educate you and give you the source of information.
Absolutely. This is very important.
Publication 908. Get the PDF version of it.
Publication 908. Okay. All right.
Yeah, put it in the chat.
Wow, he put
That's
it
for
in the
those
chat.
who are filed dealing with bankruptcy because. Yes, you were saying something, beloved?
Now I put it in the chat. I put a publication 908 in the chat for.
Yes, and make sure they get the PDF version of it.
The PDF version of it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see if anyone has any questions in the chat. Yeah, Carl Victorian, 1 thumbs down. I wonder who that could be. Shout out to the chat. We thank you guys so much for always coming in, showing love, getting this information, stimulating your mind, and making sure that you get the information to enhance your life, right? You have to continue to be the best version of yourself. And one way to do that is to get your finances right and exact. We got this brother on. I don't know which, how could you guys reach out to him to hire him for services, but he'll mention that at the end of the show. So one person says, I am doing a lecture on the sun, our alien father, on this show next Thursday. Tune in. Okay, of the sun. They can't do it as a insolvency seller. It will be fraudulent transfer. They can't do what? If you guys want to call in, you can call in, because sometimes I need clarity. I don't quite understand what you're speaking about, because I know we've gone over a couple of things. And I don't want to keep this brother too long. It's 9:53.
Yeah, well, I do recognize what they're saying to a degree, if I'm clear. Because, first of all,
he's referring to the 1041.
1933, when the bankruptcy was declared, everything was taken into receivership. So they are right about insolvency, all right? And so now we are in what you call as debtors prison, all right? This is how they're operating, and then they're using a credit system to rate you at a very low rate depending on your credit status, all right? So depending on your credit status, all right, you have to have a certain amount of credit. But what I'm telling you again, the birth certificate automatically starts you out from an 800 and better. The credit rating on the birth certificate, the only way you're going to find that out is through a Q-sub report. Right? But see, these guys want you to build up your credit. You don't have to build up no credit. All right, they're rating you. All right, and depending on what your credit rating is, it's going to depend on the interest rate and the premiums. This is how they're controlling us. Because when you begin to start looking at it properly, you have credit and debit. So what is the term for credit and debit? Assets and liabilities. Assets will fall on the credit side. Liabilities will fall on the debit side. And so when you look at the etymology of the word credit, the word, the first 3 letters in credit, which is C-R-E, come from the word accrue. And the word D-I-T come from the word debit. So it's accrued debt. That's what it is. You're accruing debt. So these guys, it's called debt equity. You can go to Investopedia, which is Investopedia.
Debt equity.
Investopedia.com, and you can look that site up. That's a financial site for financial terms, and you can look up debt equity. You can look those financial terms up, and you'll begin to start unfolding exactly what's going on. And so we are in debtors prison. So when you talk about insolvency, you're correct. You're correct about insolvency. So all transactions are fraudulent if it's insolvency. But what they're doing is they're pushing what they call as notes. Notes. And that's why you see what they printed on the money, all debts of public and private. This note is for all debts, public and private. So that's what they're pushing notes. Student loan notes, auto loan notes, mortgage notes. This is what they're pushing, notes. Because they made notes the legal tender. And that's not technically constitutional money. Joint House Resolution 92 will talk about, they don't realize that that's unconstitutional. Because they were some people back in the day were using that to figure that they would discharge debts and all that. How do you discharge a debt with a debt?
Wow. There's a question. He said, please talk about Form 56 and 56F. Do you know what those are? Excellent question. First of all, let me share something with you. I study the Internal Revenue Code. Form 56. Listen to this. Let me pull this up. You can pull it up. Excellent question. Bring some more, question. Jason.
Yeah, you got to hear this. I want you to go to 26. Because if I was to ask, can you tell me in the Internal Revenue Code where Form 56 is at? They can't tell you. They can talk. Can't tell you about where. Go to 26 USC Section 6903. 26 USC Section 6903. And when you go there, you notice it's going to say Notice of Fiduciary Duty, because that's what Form 56 is about. All right,
okay.
Pardon me?
No, I just want to make sure my moderator got it up. Okay.
Oh yeah, we got it up right now. You know how I give it up.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So 26 USC Section 6903, and look what it says here. A, rights and obligations of fiduciary. Notice upon the secretary, and which secretary they talking about. And when I dropped this information some years ago, did you know they took the link out? They actually took the link out so you won't know what secretary they're talking about. The secretary that they're talking about is the Secretary of Treasury.
Y'all better download this show.
Upon the notice to the secretary that any person is acting for another person in a fiduciary capacity, such fiduciary shall assume the powers, rights, duties, and privileges of such other person in respect of a tax imposed by this title, except as otherwise specifically provided, and except that the tax shall be collected from the estate of such other person. So when you talk about Form 56, well, you know you have to set up an estate in order to use Form 56. And most people don't know that. They go into the courtroom and say, oh, I'm going to make the judge a fiduciary under Form 56. Wait a minute. The judge is already a fiduciary. You don't need to make him something that he already is. Only thing you need to know is the EIN number in the W-9 form. I'm the only one out there that tell you that anytime these people are looking for payment, you're supposed to you're supposed to give them a W-9 form. They're supposed to submit that to you. Because everything that they're doing is an internal revenue. I don't care what it is. Family court, traffic court, criminal court, bankruptcy court, you name whatever court it is. It's all an internal revenue process.
Okay, what about the foreign trust, Jason? What about it? You said, are you asking him, should we set up a foreign trust?
No, you should set up a domestic trust because your assets can be protected. That's a very good question. No, a domestic trust is what you need to set up, one here, and you can put your house, your car, your stocks, your bonds, because the reason why you need to set up a trust here is because it's non-probatable. You know, you keep that away from probate court. Probate court is ripping our people off. Mm-hmm. So you need a domestic trust here because if you have built up assets here in this land here, you need to set up a domestic trust to transfer your things to trust to keep it from being probated. And so that way your loved ones, when you pass on, they can get 100% beneficiaries without the court saying 1/3 to this one and 1/3 to that. Right. They're ripping us off, and then you got to pay inheritance tax or probate tax to the state. All right? We'll make them a part of your inheritance. So that's why I don't agree with that estate stuff. All right? But there's a way you can use it, though.
Right.
There's a way you can use the estate.
So the question, I mean...
Jason, call in.
My question is, even if you had an estate, that would be considered a domestic trust if it's set up properly. Am I correct?
Nah, brother. Because now you're talking about two different codes of the Internal Revenue. All right? Because when you do a 1041, the 1041 can either be done for the estate or it can be done for the trust. They both operate in a different fashion.
Okay.
I do hear what you're saying, but they operate in a different fashion.
Okay. But you said there is a way to use the estate.
The estate talks about your assets.
Okay.
But the question is your assets and the estate protected? Well, what protects that? The trust. So you can have both. You can have an estate and a trust.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. I got that.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
All right, because you said there is a way to use the estate.
That's right. There's a way you can use it. I'm not totally against it.
Okay.
There's a way you can use it against them. Because remember now, I just read to you 26 U.S.C. Section what? 6903.
Yeah.
And if these people is going to operate as a fiduciary on your behalf, like for instance, let me give you an example. Because people don't really know what I'm talking about until I give them an example.
Yes.
Say, for instance, you in criminal court.
Okay.
Say you in criminal court. 6903, 26 U.S.C. 6903 applies in criminal court. Because that means that the judge and the prosecutor is operating as a fiduciary on your behalf.
Okay.
And that's why you have to get the EIN number and the W-9 form.
And what are you so?
Because
you're
they're
supposed
operating
to
as a
tell them
fiduciary.
to fill that out, right? The W-9, the judge.
Well, normally what I would do is I try to find their number and fill it out and just submit it to these people. And if they don't give up the information that they're supposed to, you can do what you call as a 3949A, which is a complaint to the Internal Revenue saying that they're breaching their fiduciary duty because they got an EIN number because that is a tax. That's an Internal Revenue proceeding.
Right. So
that criminal court is operating under an Internal Revenue proceeding.
All right now.
And that's why they would be subject to a W-9.
So all my brothers in the bookings. Come on, bros. Come on, y'all gotta.
That 3949A is like a whistleblower, like type of.
That's a whistleblower.
Yeah, well, that's the 1212. The 1212 is the whistleblower.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
You in the ballpark. That's the 1212.
Okay.
Copy that.
Wow. Oh my God. Like, ooh.
If there's a non-for-profit, it's the 13909.
Like right now.
You can file a complaint with a 13909 if they're non-for-profit, because some of them be non-for-profit. So you got to know what forms to fill out according to the status of the corporation.
Because some of them can be non-for-profit.
So would you recommend someone, like, even if they had a trust or EIN, they got certain things in place, is it plausible to set up, let's say, a foundation?
Yes, very plausible.
Okay.
Yes, or either non-for-profit.
Right.
Because these people got tax revenue over our heads, and a non-for-profit or foundation is an excellent entity to have because then you can funnel all your funds in that and get a big tax write-off.
A 508, a 508C1A, I believe. You ever heard of the 508?
Yes, yeah, that's the foundation. I know what that is.
So that's what they would call in the matrix, like a tax shelter.
True.
Okay, all right. So
well, that's what we're going to set up with Dad, so we can get this land. That's what we want to, we got to do that.
And that also deals with the corporation soul, too. That's the corporation soul language.
Wow.
Right.
Do they still give those out, the corporation soul? Do they? Because I heard that was kind of like, can't get those no more.
No, you can still get the corporation soul. I mean, there's certain states that you have to set it up under. That's what it is.
Ooh.
Like Las Vegas, Nevada, Washington State, New Hampshire, certain places, certain states, allow you to do that.
Wow, this is a lot of remedy. I just wanted to go ahead. Ask him one more question.
Someone in the chat asks, is it better to set up an S corporation? S corp.
Well, see, people got to realize something, and that's a good question. An S corporation or a C corporation, those are for certain tax reasons. You know, you got to look up the tax on those corporations, and you'll see the benefits. So yes, you can set up an S corporation. Yes, you can set up a C corporation, but it's for tax benefits.
Right. You got to see what
yeah, which one is going to be suitable for you.
Right. That's that's a personal thing, depending on what type of business you have, what revenue you have coming in. That's what Trump be doing. That's Trumpism right there. You know, Trump.
There you go.
Him and his peoples, they setting it up. They know how to, not pay as much taxes, right? Tax avoidance. Okay? Not
that's
tax
fraud. Which is virtually illegal.
Right. Avoidance.
Tax avoidance is very illegal. Yes. Tax evasion is illegal, but tax avoidance is very legal.
Got to know the difference between the two. Right?
That's right.
And speaking of Trump, right? Like, I didn't really want to get into politics, but what's your take on, what's going on? Did you feel like, well, first of all, do you vote? Do you vote?
No, because first of all, I don't agree with the Republicans and the Democrats because I know too much history. When you know the history like I do, you'll see the reason why I don't vote. I don't, because this is what I say to my sister earlier. I said to my elder sister, I said, when we was enslaved to these crackers, both Democrat and Republican, were we voting?
Absolutely not.
Right? That's a good one.
Exactly.
I like your questions.
Some of our ancestors died for that.
So why is it that we voting now when we wasn't voting then? What's going on? What's going on?
It don't make a bit of sense to me.
Good question.
And then voting is about quid pro quo. I did a lecture on that a couple of years back in D.C. Quid pro quo. So, which means favor for favor.
Oh.
So if we're not bringing a political agenda for our votes, the hell with them. Which means if we have 1 million people sign on to a petition, and this is what we want, so we can build up our community, you can get our vote.
Right.
All right? And we want them to put that in the policy.
Right in the policy.
Even to a point where a bill has to be drafted up. You know what I'm saying? And we're not doing that.
So what's the point?
As so-called black people, we are not doing that. So why should I get involved with the machination of white supremacy that using the voting machinery as a suppression of our people's economic stability?
Facts. Good question.
You see what I'm saying? So vote for what? Guess what? This is what I tell people. You got foreign folks, East Indians owning up 7-Eleven.
For facts, right? They all 7-Eleven. Yup. Tell them.
They got 7-Eleven, right?
And Subway.
They got Popeyes.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What?
You got Koreatown, Chinatown.
Facts.
You got and these people don't vote. They don't vote.
Bought up all those franchises. Any Subway you go into, any Popeyes you're gonna see that same ethnicity in there. Like if they all congregated and said, "This is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna," and you can tell they must have had some sort of meeting because they all in there.
Thank you. So you see the economic infrastructure that they have set up for themselves. So now I used to live out in Long Island. But before I can come into the city, I got to pass through Queens. Did you know in certain sections in Queens, man, for miles and miles and miles, East Indians got real estate sold up. You couldn't even get a house in their neighborhood because the real estate agents are East Indians, and they're not going to let you buy nothing up in their neighborhood.
No. Please.
You see what I'm saying? So, and these folks don't have to vote. They're not even in a position to vote.
Well, listen, I have hope. There is 19 families who came together and got some land. Kudos to them. Shout out. Woo! Because like you saying this just makes my teeth grind. Like, why? I want us to have this.
We have to get organized like they do in the synagogues because what they're doing in there is proof positive, not only that what we are talking about right now is applicable, but it's a reality to those who understand exactly the concept, what's being talked about tonight. So we have to really organize. That has been our one linchpin with us really starting to turn the tables on the narrative that's been set for us as a people and just us as a community. You know what I mean? Because we have our own looking at us a certain way. We have other people looking at us a certain way. Now, what has always been said has been we have to start looking and repairing what's going on in-house. You know what I mean? Because if we can fix what's going on in-house, then the narrative that is displayed is going to be self-evident because we'll know what we know. And there'll be no refuting that. So the point is we have to get this information and organize because the power and the strength is in the numbers that are amassed and the like minds that come together for a common purpose. Period.
Yeah, J Bay, you're right. Unincorporated association. Yep. Good.
So the point being is that's the reason why we have our brother on here to give us insight with whatever we know, whatever we learn along the way that could assist us into us getting personal emancipation that will then allow us to get a community emancipation because that's what's needed right now. You know, we have to change the narrative.
But use the word civil liberties, brother.
Civil liberty.
Right, okay.
Yes, civil liberties is better than emancipation because when you have the liberty to be civil, which means to be equitable in your own community, someone is hindering that. It's being hindered. Our liberties are being hindered in reference to our civil duties. Right. We don't have civil duties because our liberties are being obstructed. Right. It's being obstructed. They're using the birth certificate to obstruct our civil liberties. They're using the 14th Amendment, which is coming out of the birth certificate comes out of. These things that they set up, the voting system, like for instance, if you know anything about a corporation, especially the brother who was on earlier, he was asking some very excellent questions about processing and going through this for this money. What's the most interesting thing about a corporation? You have voting rights and non-voting rights pertaining to preferred stocks and common stocks. And I'm saying to myself, if our people are voting in the United States, what kind of stocks do we own?
Damn, that's a good.
Do we have common stocks? Do we have preferred stocks? Or do we have any stocks at all?
That's a good question.
Right.
That's a good one.
I mean, because
you see what I'm saying? But yet we're voting at the polls. So what kind of games these people are playing?
Yeah.
Right. Because they're laughing all the way to the bank.
We have to create our own economic infrastructure. Just like them foreign folks who don't even have to vote. That's all they have to do is buy up the franchises, like the sister said.
They don't have to vote. They don't need it. They don't use a Social Security, nothing. They just go in there.
They don't need exactly.
They get tax breaks. All they got to do is buy into the system that's created and generate. Become a battery in the system, and you get all these
Do they really buy into when you say buy into the system, what do you mean? Like being the 14th Amendment?
Buy into a corporation. The corporations are registered
under
the United States. So now, if you buy into a system that is part of another system that generates whatever, then you are kind of you're continuing to perpetuate a fraud that's been brought amongst the people who are of the land that don't even know.
We are at the bottom of the poll. Let me tell you something. Somebody gave me a credit site that's for the Asians. I don't know if it's Chinese or whatever. They come here already set up with the 800 credit score that we are set up with when we're first born by way of the birth certificate, as he explained earlier. They come here. They already communicate before even coming here with their people. That we're gonna say Arabs. I don't want to the Arabs, all of them. They come here already. The Asians come here already with good credit, and they come and open up stores, and they fresh on the land, like literally fresh on the land. And I don't know if
and you notice we can't do that going to foreign lands. We can't even do that.
That's the thing. Like we could never go to China.
We catch hell trying to open up business in the foreign land.
Not happening. Not us. Not even Africa. Not even maybe Ghana have a little leeway, but in Africa, not Africa and nowhere else. Not even there. Not even there. Not even our brothers and sisters in the Caribbean is like that. But we'll allow other people. We'll allow the Asians to come in. We'll allow
there you go.
Everybody else. I thought with the recent, when Trump was in and they were protesting and they were burning up every goddamn thing, they were just sick and tired of everything. Just what the hell with it? I thought that, I know protesting don't really help with nothing, because I know we got to practice group economics. We have to get our finances, hit them in the pockets. Even Martin Luther King example with the boycott did more work than just going out there and protest. But the whole point is, even with that, I thought there would be some change, because when everything shut down, I said, okay, well, at least we don't have to let the Asians back in. Let's not go to the Chinese restaurants anymore. Let's make sure that they stay out, because a lot of places were closed at that time. So we kept advocating, don't go, don't go.
Not to cut your wisdom, but have you ever heard of the Vernon Brown story?
No, I haven't heard of that.
James L. Jones played Vernon Brown, and something you said that was essential that the people who's listening need to hear. He was promoting black businesses. When Martin Luther King came on the scene, he destroyed black businesses because he was about integrating, and that killed. We had more black businesses prior to Martin Luther King, but when he came on the scene, he destroyed black businesses by this integrating and marching on Washington and getting into these people. We had our own schools and our own businesses. So that's what hurt us. Martin Luther King and these white folks worshiped this Negro as a freaking hero and got statues and street names after this dude, when he actually destroyed black businesses. A lot of people don't know that,
That's impossible for people not to know, because there was mom and pop stores all over the place. And in the moment that we integrated is when we fell short. The moment, because if you go back in history, okay, you say, let me just go check some few things out about my people. It's clear as day that when we did our best was when we was by ourselves.
That's right.
We don't even, when we were, just analyze that.
Right, because
every time in history, when we did our best, we was by ourselves. But look, anybody else that's doing well right now to this day, they're together. I can go to Brooklyn, they're together. I can go to Chinatown, come on, they're together.
You can go to 116th Street.
116th Street, the Senegalese, they're together.
That's right.
Y'all don't understand strength in numbers, group economics. Their money goes. Dr. Claude Anderson said it the best. It goes around and around 10 times before you even leave the community. All right. There's so many examples.
Now, and I want to address something in the chat, because Gerald Spence said, because they come to America with a plan. And that's correct. They do. But what about our plan? What about the plan of the people who are here? We are here and we have a front row seat, and we're really not getting or not having anything to show for it.
Everybody come here and reap the benefits off of this land except us. They, as soon as we go, Black Lives Matter, which that has its own agenda, but I'm just using this for...
Well, Black Lives don't matter because, first of all, what we should have been setting up is a chamber of commerce, and anybody foreign who come in our community would have to pay us a due.
You gonna have to pay up. First of all, I wouldn't even agree for them to come in the community. No. Well, just to buy something. You want to buy something and go.
Come in the community, come as a merchant.
Yeah.
That is willing to do.
But that's to do that by Chamber of Commerce. We have not set up our own Chamber of Commerce that if they're going to come into our community to do business, they have to pay us.
Exactly.
They have to pay us to set up business in our community. And the only reason why that's not happening because we didn't set up a Chamber of Commerce in our community. Because that means that if any foreigner that come in our community and set up shop without coming seeing us, we were the ones who should be the town crier to inform our people, do not buy from this guy because he's not supporting the Chamber of Commerce, which supports us.
Let me tell you something. Nothing moves without us. Like if we collectively stop buying or kept our money, I know the whole world would just shut down. I know the whole world will literally just shut down. Nothing moves without us. You know what I mean? We're needed, and we're needed so much so that they, look at COINTELPRO. It's still working to this day.
Well, you remind me of Black Solidarity Day. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
No.
Oh my goodness, that was off the chain.
Wow.
You need to talk to him about Black Solidarity Day is what you're talking about. I remember that day. When we stay home from school, that was like our Sabbath.
Really? Okay.
We stayed away from businesses. Yeah, sis.
Okay.
I remember Black Solidarity Day, so it's interesting you saying that. That's why the person who's saying, "Do I got something against black?"
No.
Why would I got something against black? I never said I had anything against black, and you never heard me say I got anything against black. I'm saying that we ain't black.
Black Solidarity.
That's not a nationality. Why would we want to classify ourselves with something that refers to things? We're not a thing.
Okay, so those are the things that we need to go back. Black Solidarity Day. We gotta go back to that stuff. We gotta go back to those traditions and stick to them. These are things. These are little small steps that we can make.
And Kwanzaa too.
Was another good one.
And Kwanzaa, because Kwanzaa is what I raised my children up on, because it's a very powerful economic tool.
Right.
All right, because it does talk about unity. It does talk about economics and cooperative economics and, being creative. And, so that whole principle by Malana Karenga was off the chain. You know what I'm saying? And if more of our people was to practice Kwanzaa, we can kill all this commercialism.
We could.
Valentine, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Easter, all this commercialism. Mother's Day, Father's Day, all this commercialism.
So much money being spent with all these holidays. The gift of giving is all good, but we got to make sure that we're giving to ourselves. You know what I'm saying?
There you go.
We just got to make sure that it's done right. And this is our only downfall is the unity, the organization, and the finances. Once we get that together, it's over. The whole world is coming down. Well, the whole world will be ours. The whole world will be ours. And we will have to, live in it with integrity and morals and principles. And that's all. I need you guys, there's 28 people watching right now. I need you guys to hit that like button. We appreciate you, brother, for coming on this show. Shaka.
Yes.
Is there anything else you got to say? Because we're gone. We're out of here. We would definitely love for you to come back. How can people reach you?
Yes. I'm going to give my contact information. They can email me at Moorish, which is Moorish, Divan, which is Divan, D like in David, D-I-V like in Victor, A like in Apple, N like in Nancy, at Gmail. That's MoorishDivan@gmail.com. They can email me there. And if you were to get my number, what you would have to do is text me with your name and number. So my number is 347 626-1357. Again, 347-626-1357. But if you call, I prefer you to text me first with your name and number, so that way I know it's you. Mm-hmm. Whoever's calling me or trying to get in contact with me, at least I know I can put you in my system, and then when you call me, I won't miss your call, or I can return the call.
Absolutely.
And we will be sure to put the email in the description so everyone can
hit that like button for me, people.
Can reach you. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely appreciate you giving a great deal of information and wisdom on numerous topics. You know, we would love to have you back on. You know, at a later date,
yes.
We can go in a little bit further on. You know, we can expound on some things. I know that our parents,
I know he's gonna get a lot of calls.
Love it because they anticipated you coming on, and do know that you're gonna be getting a lot of texts and a lot of emails coming your way after today as well. So, you know, we definitely appreciate you coming on. I mean, the information that you gave is great. And
I also want to say too, as an addition, real quickly.
Yeah.
Audits can be done on any of those instruments, like, so you know, credit cards, mortgages, student loans, and auto loans. We do audits, securitization audits on those. When it comes to birth certificates and other instruments, we do what you call is QSUP reports on that. So for those who will call in, I just want you to be aware that QSUP reports can be done and securitization audits can be done. All right, so that way you can see what your equity is at, and we can go through it. I will walk you through it. I will educate you through it so you know what's going on.
Yes.
And how we can benefit.
Oh, we're going to be talking in the private because we got to get this money so that we can,
definitely.
Because we need our own schools. We need our own land. We need things for these children. They're out here. Look, listen, our children are suffering the most of them, because we don't have resources. We don't have our land. And they're out here on virtual learning, don't have anything to do, and they're just gonna keep getting depressed, and it's just not good. We have to give them something. This is not good what's happening to them. You know, I was telling Dad that I was at the YMCA, and there was two young men. They must have been no more than like 14 and 15. They just wanted to go into the YMCA and you know, play some free basketball or whatever, but their car wasn't working. And they were trying desperately to get in just to have somewhere to go, and they were turned. They were turned away. And when that happens, y'all know, they're going to get into problems. They're going to get angry. You know, they don't have nowhere to go or nothing to do. And this is not right. It's not right. And I felt so bad. Our children deserve better. We can't continue to, you know, go generation after generation giving them nothing. We're not giving nothing. We cannot be that selfish. We cannot be that selfish anymore. Yes, Ashe. All right, brother. I appreciate you. Have a wonderful night, and we'll speak to you soon.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Peace. Peace to the God.
Peace.
Well, you guys, I'm eating my popcorn. Man, listen. It was like, you know, I don't get that excited with a lot of people, you know, like I really enjoy talking to my brother Jonah a lot, but I really appreciated this bill right here. So it is what it is. Whatever we can get from it, whatever you don't, you know, certain things you don't need to apply, and certain things can help you furthermore in your process of where you're at in life. And that's all, you know, that's all we can ask for. So I'm still in deep gratitude for it. Please don't forget to hit that like button. I know the phones are going to be ringing up in a minute as soon as we exit out. Who has something to say? This is a deep conversation, but it's actually money has become our God. But from my perspective, I am God over money. That's right.
And that's how it's supposed to be. And that's what we're supposed to be teaching. Money is a tool. Money is an end to a means to an end. So therefore, you get the money, you use the money, which is nothing but paper or some type of intrinsic value, to get something tangible, property,
some
land.
assets.
You get assets, and that's what we were talking about.
They said money. Having money is the root of all evil. No, not having money is the root of all evil. And just look at it. Every time there is low employment in anywhere, analyze this, the crime rate is always high. When everyone is eating, the crime rate is always low. So not having money is the root of all evil. But once again, it's all the mental. No, it's not supposed to control you. If you have something tangible, it's not supposed to control you. It's just a resource. It's a tool, like Shaka said, a tool to be utilized. It doesn't matter how much you have. You have to really think of it that way, because if not, you're going to wind up not having it because you're going to make bad decisions.
And also, just to expound on what she's saying right now, not having the knowledge of money is the root of all evil.
Right. Oh, nothing.
Because
I don't know what they're talking about.
If you don't understand how money works, when you get it, it's gone. That's how most of us are. People go and it's tax season, right? All these people, you know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody got COVID now because they doing their taxes. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nobody got COVID.
Nobody got no respiratory problems.
States is opening up because they like, oh shit, people are doing their taxes. They gonna have money to spend, and if we ain't got nowhere for them to spend it, then we ain't doing our job.
I'm done.
Right? Peep the science though. You know what I mean? So now you got all these states that are suddenly, for some reason, opening up. You know what I'm saying? And there ain't as many tests because they done dialed down the cycle on the PCR test. So you're not going to get as many positive tests. You know? And therefore, it's pretty good. It's pretty safe to go out there and do your ones and twos right now.
The file of taxes.
You know, now the Caucasians out there, with all due respect, are not getting money either. You know what I'm saying? And we all know what happens when they're not getting any money. They start shooting up the building.
Shoot. And if that don't work, they're definitely gonna jump off the building.
They start going postal up in the front. No, I don't care nobody. You know what I'm saying? Bang, 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 bang. Everybody catching one.
That's hilarious.
So let's keep in mind that we gotta really keep the main thing. And the main thing is understanding.
You want to talk about the G5?
True wealth. How to do group economics. Make sure you spending money with people that look like you, so that in turn they can spend it with you.
That have the same beliefs that you do and live the same lifestyle or similar lifestyle that you have, so that you guys could keep living. You know what I'm saying? And in harmony. In harmony. So I'm gonna take it easy. I'm just like, So listen, you guys, I appreciate you. You please hit that like button. Make sure you share this. My moderator, my engineer, needs to make sure he download this. I'm not quite sure if you guys know, but last week's show is not up right now.
Yeah, and we're gonna make sure
last week's show was taken down.
We're gonna make sure
okay.
that we do the proper edits to the show and re-upload the show, because that was a very, very great build, and you know what? It's not going to be loaded up. We're going to set up the Patreon
That shit was
account,
so juicy.
and you'll be able to get that show on the Patreon account.
I couldn't believe it.
Every show that YouTube
takes down,
because we put it up on Patreon, and y'all can go there and see the show there.
That show was so juicy,
because we don't want to deal with having to
we're gonna keep getting flagged for this information.
Right, tailor our voices for the sake of someone else's agenda.
And what was their reason? What was the reason for them taking it down? We didn't what? We didn't go by their policy or rules.
There was a community policy that had something to do with the election. So I think when we played the video of the guy, Mr. Lindell, talking about how that situation came about with all of that corporeal evidence. It was corporeal evidence. It's irrefutable.
They gonna take
They don't really want that.
You don't want it.
You know what I'm saying?
They don't want that.
So y'all can see in real time that censorship, when you're not meeting the agenda of a selected few, you're gonna be censored. That's what it is.
Right.
That's what it is, y'all.
That's what it is. Listen.
And no matter what, we're gonna keep coming. What?
Yeah.
No matter what, we're gonna keep coming with this info. We're gonna keep coming with these bangers for y'all, to build y'all wealth, for y'all to get y'all money game up.
Listen,
and shout out to the haters that were in the building. You know what I'm saying?
God, what's going on?
We know who you are.
What's going on, guys? I got thumbs down in the building.
Right, that one person came in with the thumbs down, talking that this is Africa and all that African stuff. You know what I'm saying? But they ain't get that jab yet. Come holler at us when you get that jab, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because I believe my God is here, turned around, and sent you the information, yo. Yo. You know what I'm saying, yo?
I'm done. I am done.
You feel me, yo?
There's way more people CBS, watching than there is thumbs up. What's going on? Hit them like buttons.
CBS got it and Walgreens got it. You know what I'm saying? So go get your jab, yo. And let's see what's popping. Let's see how that do. Because people getting their jab still got to wear the mask. People that got that jab still got to social distance. So what's really good? What is that jab doing you? People that get the jab can still catch coronavirus. Eat that one.
Oh, God.
Y'all can still catch it. So all right. What is it doing? What is it doing other than putting some biotech in your body that they're able to turn around and manipulate for you? Turn you into a fucking robot.
Put it back in.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. With that being said, guys, if you want to build with us, because obviously we're speaking to people, don't think that we're not doing certain things behind the scene. Oh, you have no idea. Even Brother Kemitu, who just left, we already have something in the works with Dad and regarding drafting up some stuff and creating something wonderful where people very notable people are willing to donate to us. All right.
Let me know when you get that jab.
He's very well connected. In addition to certain things that we'll be doing with Jonah and so many other things. There's so many things that, people in different parts are doing what they have to do, and it's all going to connect. So can you please put your email in the chat? You're going to have to go on your rant. Whoever wants to call Shaka El Bay to talk about it, talk about it. Can you please put your email in the chat?
All right. My email is onhighradio@gmail.com.
Okay.
Crazy World, you already know. We just disagree on some shit. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. It's no getting around it. Ain't no way to do it.
Somebody says stop the blood clot crying. What is going on? It seems like it'll be war in the chat now. War in the chat. Shout out to Afisha, Carl Victorian, Goldie Mac. Okay.
Yeah, he was timed out.
Okay, Gerald Spence. Oh, yeah, y'all put him on timeout.
Yeah,
okay. 6 SPD.
You need to change your handle, Jerry. Change your handle. Put that shit up there.
Eugenio.
Stop playing, or you gonna get your government called out every week.
Host Waji, J Bang, Crazy World.
Yeah, history is key.
Okay. All right. If I missed you, please forgive me. I'll shout you out again on Thursday coming up. Thursday we're gonna have we're gonna switch it up. We're gonna have a very special guest, but he's coming from the hip hop world. He is a very intelligent intellectual. Okay, he goes by the name. What are you doing over there? He goes by the name Loaded Lux. Okay, we're gonna delve into some things in the hip hop world. We're gonna have a great time. So make sure you guys are tuned in because it's about to go down once again on Thursday. And we have some other people that we're in the works with that's going to come on to keep giving us this knowledge and this information. Remedy. All right.
So
we out.
Tune in. You know what I'm saying? We got our brother Loaded Lux. You know what I'm saying? Battle rapper. MC.
Morse
artist,
versus Moorish Science.
You know what I'm saying? We're going to be getting it in on some hip-hop-ish. So tune in. Mm-hmm. It's going down. We're going to have a great time, as usual. We're going to be in the Diggy Dom house, studio, putting in that work.
We in the studio.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And if you want to get on the Sunday build,
y'all have to.
Hit me up at onhighradio@gmail.com.
You want them child support issues handled? You want your trust created? You want to know how to get this credit off? You want to know how to build this credit? You want to know how to start this credit? You want to know your ass was arrested? You want to know how to get at these people with criminal court? Everything you want, all of any personal issues that you have, the Sunday build is where you need to be. We will be creating a separate build where some of these brothers that have been coming on is going to come in and we're about to get that work. It's going to be remedy time. We're about to do it. So that's going to be an exclusive build that'll be coming up soon. And only a handful of people will be in there because this time is not going to be, that build is not going to be dismantled. It's going to flourish and we're going to stick to the agenda. And we're going to make sure we get this money. So this private build that we're going to create pretty soon with some of these heavy hitters, such as, we're not going to say any names. We're going to get this remedy for once and for all.
They're going to be bringing a wealth of information.
We're going to get work done.
And information that is applicable to your life and lifestyle in real time. We're not playing any games with this.
No more.
We ain't come on here to turn around and shuck and jive y'all. You know what I'm saying? You
no
might
more.
think so, or at least Goldie might think so. But
who is this Goldie?
You know I love Goldie because I love his passion.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what I'm saying? We gotta just bring him into focus because his vision is blurry. You know what I'm saying?
He said no facts. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Guys, so we have to go. We have to go. Call us right now in the private.
Yeah. Peace to the gods.
Peace to the gods. Okay.